Hi, this is Jim Hayes with Esri, and I'm making a map of sales today. A colleague sent me a CSV file he exported from Excel containing some sales records and some information about each sale. I'd like to see what that looked like on the map. I'm already logged into ArcGIS Online, so I'll go to the map. I'll then go to Add Layer from File. So he sent me an email. I took the attachment, saved it on my local desktop, and now I'm going to go find it and put it up onto the cloud. In this case, it's going to import the layer quite quickly. Smart Mapping starts right away by saying, hey, you've got this layer you just uploaded. We presume you want to do something with it, right? Maybe you want to make a map of the first numeric field we found in the data set, which in this case was zip code. Or maybe you just want to show the location to get started. Where are all these things? Maybe you want to show a heat map of the locations. Or maybe you want to map something more than that. In this case, I know that there's a field in here called revenue, and that's kind of important in business. So I'm going to take a look at the different styles of map I could do with a revenue field. Looks like there's 5. I could do this bubble style of map, which we call counts and amounts varied by size. I've got this other option called counts and amounts color. So with one click I can take a quick look at what generally that's going to look like and then start to customize it if I want. I can do a heat map that is based on a little bit based on revenue. I could do location, we showed that earlier, and I could do types. So in this case, if this is all the zip codes whose revenue was exactly $49.73, and if I go to the options, it seems there's 13 zip codes that have that value. It might be a repeat customer who keeps buying. These are individual records, by the way. Okay, I think what I like to start by showing you is a bubble map version of this. So I'm going to choose the bubble map, and then I'm going to drill into the options to see, well, what can I do with this? And by default, you see how the ramp of sizes from 8-point circles to 50-point circles, to get an 8-point circle, you have to have a value of 9. So your revenue is $9. And to get a 50-point circle, 1,000 times more in terms of revenue, you get a 50-point circle. And the average is shown here right next to, see this little histogram that's going on here? We give you the average sale of these records. The average sale was $788. And what I want you to notice is, look what you can do very, very quickly with smart mapping. If I set the minimum size at 788, which is the average, and then I drop that size down to about 3 points, I want you to notice what happens on the map. All those individual sales that were above average, now they jump out on the map. And sometimes that's what you want to do, is you want to have certain things jump out. Maybe I would go in and change the color at this point to pick a nice bright green with a light green outline, maybe a little transparency on both of them, so that I get this kind of a good looking bubble fill. Maybe I want to drop this onto a light gray base map. Okay, you kind of got to go whatever direction you need to go there. I'll hit OK, hit done. I can save this. I might rename it first. I'll call it LA Sales. CRM is sort of implied, so I'm just going to say LA Sales Revenue. So this is our LA Sales Revenue layer, and if I want to save everything I'm doing, I can hit Save Layer, and it's already got the title. I'm going to say CRM is a tag I care about, Sales is the tag, Revenue is a tag, and maybe a Q2 or 2015 Q2 might be a tag I want to add. Maps shows individual sales by revenue amount. Okay, so let's create that item. Great. Now I notice that the pop-up isn't really all that strong. It's just a list of fields. It's okay for me because I understand this data, but maybe if I want this to be kind of executive level quality, maybe I want to go in and say configure pop-up And let's put this thing in plain English. Let's put the zip field. Check out the zip field. It's got a comma in there. We don't need a comma. Go into configure attributes. You know, it's not our fault that Excel tends to convert zip fields into numerics, and then everybody downstream of that has to suffer. Well, we can get around it. Just take the comma separator off, give it a nice alias, and now that zip code field's going to look a lot nicer. Let's take a look and see if that made the change I wanted. Yeah, zip code. See, now it doesn't have a comma in there. We're not done. Go back into configure pop-up. Instead of a list of fields, I'm going to give it a custom attribute display where I'm going to say this sale was for, put a dollar amount in. Let's go get the field. I think it was called revenue. Add a cost of, and I can actually type this in, cost, because I know the field, for a gross margin of, and margin. Okay, and just for fun, we'll put all that in the center, justification, save it, bang. Okay, so now if I decided, yeah, this is a layer I'd like other people in my organization to see, I definitely save that layer. And the value of saving that layer is now this CSV file has gone from a dumb text file to an actual map who, when you touch it, it gives you information back in plain English for the zip code in question, even though Excel doesn't understand what a zip code is numerically or text field wise. So that's kind of nice. So what else can I do? A lot of people don't know that you have an option called copy. You go to a layer, you say, well, I'd like to look at this a little bit differently. Let's turn off the original, let's work with the copy, go to change style, and I'm going to change from revenue to gross margin. So look how different the story is at a margin level. We've got some negative margin. We had some sales for a loss. Okay, well, what do we want to do about that? The average sale is $240, but maybe we want to use that $244 to kind of anchor this map, and I only want to see those sales that are profitable. I want you to notice something. See this outlier? He had a gross margin of $8,000 on a total sale of $8,700. The cost was $733. Somebody did a great job there. Or we have a very unhappy customer. I don't know. Maybe both. Anyway, this outlier is dictating how big all the other dots appear on the map. In other words, he's so good, he makes everybody, he's wrecking the curve. We've all said that before. So how do we mitigate that? Well, just drag him back down to earth. You know, if the bosses tell you $3,500 is a terrific margin, and I'd like to know every sale that's at a $3,500 margin, by dragging that down, now anybody with a margin of $3,500 gross gets a 50-point symbol. Make sense? So the point is strictly that you can put your intelligence into the map any way you want by typing it, by basing it on the numeric average that the software gives you. Oh, it was 240. Let me demonstrate the ease with which I can correct myself. And so here, you're making the map as you go. You can go back and grab that symbol again. So, or maybe I want to do, I love these symbols because they just look good. Let's go with shape. And yeah, that's kind of cool. So in this case, we might want to bump this up to 100. See how it just responds? I love that about the software. You can just kind of work out, what do I want this map to emphasize? Hit OK. Hit OK. And now I'm going to rename it. And in this case, it's not LA sales revenue, it's gross margin. Great. Let's copy that layer. Let's go in one more time while I've got time. And this time, I want to show you a feature not too many people have noticed. Let's take the margin. And this time I'm going to symbolize it by counts and amounts, colors. And there's a feature here called divided by. You can divide one thing into another using smart mapping. You just don't have to create a new field and calculate the field and handle all the null values and zeros. Take care of that for you. So in this case, I'm going to divide margin by revenue. And I immediately see sort of a high to low theme. In other words, we have two colors in this map, yellow and brown, and all the data in this histogram is visually spread across that color ramp, right? I can change the ramp. Maybe I don't want brown. Maybe I want to use maybe a green. And while I like this, and certainly the more intense sales stand out, what I would like to know are there other options. And we have other options available. A valuable one is called above and below, where the average margin, in this case 31 points, 31%, the average margin is represented in a white color. And the closer you are to average, the more light or white your color symbol is. Purple, you have to have a margin of 50% or better to get a dark purple color. And on the low end, you have to have a margin of just 10% to get a solid red color. So what's important about this is it uses the data itself to determine the initial settings. You know, this is the average and this is one standard deviation above and below the mean. But it could be that your organization has goals. So it wants to say, you know, we want a minimum, everyone should target to get a 25% margin. And we're not happy if we're at, oh, I don't know, let's say we're not happy at 15% margin, right? So we want things to light up in red if they're a 15% margin or below. Or maybe times are good and all you want to do is make sure we don't lose money. So red is going to mean 0% margin. You only get a solid red color is when, in those cases, when you are approaching zero. And maybe the same thing on the positive side. Maybe you want to set your sales goal that, or your operational goals that, you know, you want to run 40% margins or better. So at 40%, the whole map starts to get some clarity here, don't we? You notice how as soon as I made that change, I'll do it again. 0.5 is where we were, and that's what the statistics suggested. But I'm saying, as business owner, our goal is 0.4. Watch the map, how it gets clearer towards our goals. So that's what it's about. It's about aligning the map to the operational goals, not about learning to make the map do cartwheels in order to get what you want communicated. Okay, so I'm going to hit save. We're going to call this one our percent margin. And there we go. Now each of these I would want to save as a layer so that it can be reused. I would tag it up so I can reuse it. Los Angeles is probably a good tag to put in there. Map shows percent in what is it? Q2 2015, right? I guess we do it this way. I've seen it done both. All right, so 2015 Q2, I create the item. Now that's a layer that anybody in my organization can use. All right, so I just wanted to take you through a few of those smart mapping examples just to show you how you can get there quickly. And of course, probably worth mentioning, anytime you want to just abandon, you know, and just show the location only, it's always there for you to choose. Somebody's asked me recently about that, so I wanted to share that. Hey, thanks for your time watching this. If you have a question about what you've seen here today, please just email jharries@esri.com. It's JHERRIES @esri.com. Thanks for your time.